everybody, and welcome back to Past Left Drafts. What we're hoping to be is the most entertaining draft content on the internet. Last episode, we looked at M21 Draft, and we looked at the draft portion following Joe Loudon, and here is the deck that he was drafting. Fergus, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you think that went?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting draft. We obviously spoke about it extensively last time. I think it was difficult to see. I think he did okay, all things considered. He got some good pulls at the end, and he's pulled together a decent, if not the best, red-white aggro deck at the table, in my opinion.
Yeah, nice little ground aggro deck, bit of removal. On the other side of the table, we're going to have James. Now, James went for a bit more spell heavy. He's managed to get 3 Shipwrecked Dowser in there, a decent little rare and Razher. Let's have a look how they get on in the match.
Let's go. Alright, Joe on the play, which seems pretty good for him. No mountains in his first hand, so he's going to ship it back.
Yeah, oh, that's even worse. I hate it when that happens.
Same again. I mean, you haven't got a choice here.
Yeah, single mount would make that hand playable. That's a lot better.
I mean, it's playable.
5 lands. Yeah, 5 land hand. Luckily, he is the aggro deck to maybe make something out of that.
Absolutely. He's got the 2-drop. He just has to kind of hope it goes his way from here.
Yeah. Oh, now this is better because you don't really want to play that Daybreak Charger on turn 2. You prefer to play on turn 3, pumping your 2-drop.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happened here.
That's a brilliant draw. Absolutely brilliant. I set something up to really ask a question, which is what I need to do in a point like that.
Yeah, and James is kind of diddling around, not doing anything here, so he's going to be able to get a full 4 damage in on turn 3.
Yep, this is what he needed with a 5-land hand or 5 card hand.
Now we know that. Yeah, we know that James has a. I'll get the emotes in there as well. We know that James has not the fastest deck. He's got a couple of removal spells in there, ways to block the board, but Joe's hoping that he'll be able to get in under that and get the damage through.
Yeah, I think it's difficult playing spell decks like this. Obviously, if you're getting stuff down, you're getting synergy, you get additional value. But your risk is, if you don't get your payoffs down first, you dirtle around and spend turn just doing nothing like this. And in a limited game, when someone's bringing an aggressive game plan, the last thing you want to be doing is just scrying 3 and not doing a whole lot else.
Yeah, there are 3. There are some nice big blocking creatures in this format, but you don't often get them very early. The creatures' stat lines, the base stat lines, don't tend to come very big. Apart from a couple of things in green, you've got the Draz and Tyrannodon, which is a 3/3 for 2. But apart from that, you're usually not getting the best rates on your creatures.
Yeah, just going backwards for a second. I don't know why Joe played the Daybreak Charger then. I think I'd have played the Ogre, because now he won't be able to get through that 0/4 wall, which he would have been able to had he played the Charger this turn.
Yeah, good point. I must have just been thinking the same way I was, that not having the Ogre in his previous hand, he was planning on playing the Daybreak Charger. Didn't even really think when the Ogre came out.
Yeah, if you played the Ogre first there, he'd have had 2 4-power creatures to swing in with that turn. Neither of which would have been blocked, so he'd have had an extra 8 damage down, which is quite big.
So Joe's not getting his land drops, but neither is James, which is playing into Joe's favour because he's getting out these bigger creatures.
Why?
Chandler's Pine.
Why do you not swing with the 4/2
there? Good point. I don't know. There was no mana open. He was maybe being a little bit overcautious, but he is going to manage to get in that ping damage with the Magmut, and that's also going to be turning on his piling. So that's going to be quite a key play, I think.
I mean, it's going to be very valuable for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be 2/3 double striker. It's going to be great.
It's pretty good. So we get a hasty creature, and the question is if Joe's going to attack this turn.
Well, what he'll be able to do as well with that, he'll be able to make his piling unblockable.
I mean, yeah, he can do. He is attacking with the Ogre this turn, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, he's attacking with everything. In open mana, but obviously both players, just go full aggro there. Both players have a few mana issues, but like we've already said, that's playing into what Joe wants to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you notice that essentially he's 8 damage down here. Well, if we look at the play we mentioned earlier, so 7 because he attacked with the thing. So it would be a lethal attack otherwise, would it not be? Yeah, it would be. It would have been exactly lethal. Oh no, it wouldn't because he has the block on thingy. Ignore me.
Yeah.
Interesting playlines though. Interesting playlines. It's looking.
Yeah, maybe not optimal,
but
he's still got the upper hand. We've got the 4th land on the other side of the table.
Yep, absolutely. What is this?
Although that's not going to do a huge amount at this
point.
point.
No, and this is kind of the concern we said. Decks like James's, your risk is you just dirtle around and don't do anything.
Is this just game?
Yeah, this is lethal attack, right?
Not quite, no.
Because you've got 1, 2. So you got 4, 5, 6.
You'll be able to get 4
6.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 6 through, depending on the way he attacks.
He attacks with everything,
But
right?
it's not looking great for James here. I think Joe has this first game in the bag.
Yep, I mean, this looks pretty good. He's down on 2. He has an arsonist and a magma mutt, so I don't really know how you win this.
The only real board wipe we've got in the format is in black,
Okay.
and that wouldn't even deal with the 3 power things. And yeah, that burned bright. He's not going to
Ah,
give anything away with it.
I don't know. I'd play that. I don't even. There you
Oh,
go.
there he goes. He does. He
Absolutely, you've
does.
got it right. You're starting
Yeah.
on 5 cards and you're winning like this. And we see here the danger of playing decks like James's with sanctums and things
Yeah.
like that. He's got loads of mana, loads of cards in hand, and absolutely nothing on board. And that's a problem.
Yeah, it was Storm turn 2 play that track down. He didn't take any lands off the top. And he was obviously stuck for his lands. So, yeah, strange plays.
Well,
But
yeah.
let's see what happens in sideboarding. And so, going to sideboarding here, do you notice what I noticed about Joe's deck?
Yeah, 42 cards.
Yeah, interesting choice there. What I suspect has probably happened is as he's imported the cards from the draft sim into Arena, he's put all his red and white cards in, thought he had a sideboard in. You see there was no sideboard there whatsoever. The 2 cards that were supposed to be in sideboard have ended up in the main deck, but that is really making them a local ground aggro deck. 16 lands with 42 cards. If he comes up against a Teferi's Tutelage, might give him that little bit of extra wiggle room that he
I
needs.
mean, yeah, technically it may give him an extra bit of wiggle room. That's true. But I think mostly, as you said, I think some of the benefit there is actually just changing your land to creature ratio. You don't want a ton of lands with this deck.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sorry guys if you don't think this is quite the most technical draft performance in the world. Joe is usually slightly better than this, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. But we say we're going to be the most informative draft content on the internet. We're just to be the most entertaining, and we are certainly that.
I'm just taking the opportunity to bully Joe when he can't talk back. That's my approach.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he'll get back when he gets onto his podcast.
I'm sure he will. So it's interesting. So what do you think? James's deck coming back into game 2. What does he need to do differently?
Well, he's taking his time sideboarding there, so maybe he's taking out some of the bigger stuff, some of the more dirty stuff that's fun to play, but not necessarily doing what you need to do to win. And might be putting in just a couple of early blockers in and seeing how that's going to go. He's probably going to be on the play this time, yeah. So James is taking on the play. Joe's got a much better 7-card starting hand here.
Everything about
Daybreak Charger. Yeah. Or he might even just go Arsonist into piling. And then into the Charger. We'll have to see what the draws
I think
happen.
you play Arsonist into piling because you can then put the Daybreak Charger on the piling and swing him with the Arsonist, and at least that denies them blocking the Arsonist because it would give the piling double strike.
Yeah, very dependent on what gets played. See, we've got another land in there, so easy Goblin Arsonist for the first play, and we'll have to see what James plays to see what the next choice is going to be. No blockers there, nothing's going on. I think I'd go for the piling here.
So go for the piling.
Yeah, because you don't need to get that damage through. And making his mind up. Yeah, he's going for it. Yeah. So maybe if James had played a blocker, then maybe that was a good sideboard choice from James, just to stave off the aggro. It's not doing a huge amount, but he did do it quite early in the game. But he is dirtling around a bit much again.
I don't think bringing bad cards into your deck is necessarily a strong strategy, but what do I know?
No, not unless you got something really good on the top end that you need to survive for.
Yeah. Gaining 4 life is really not what you want to be doing, trading a card. This is looking pretty bad start from James. Again, we've seen him play multiple cards that aren't affecting the board state. He's got 5 mana here, so maybe he can get something from here. Needs a big stabilizing play.
Yeah, see.
Another sanctum. Yeah.
Now that's a pretty sweet combo, and if Joe wasn't as aggro as he was, that might have been really good. But unfortunately, I think he's just going to be heading things out a bit too powerfully.
Yeah, because we're going to see Goblin Wizardry come down here, and it's really interesting because obviously we're going to see. Okay, so we see preventing 2 damage with another spell. It's another not very efficient play there. So we can see we played 4 spells and we've done nothing to actually influence the board state. We do draw some cards here though, which is nice. So he's got card advantage going. He just needs to stabilize. But going back to Joe for a second, we have Goblin Wizardry, which he hasn't played yet, which obviously gives prowess creatures, and then he has Swift Response and Unleash Fury in his hand. So it's a pretty potent combo.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the Goblin Wizardry Instant speed, get 2/1/1 prowess goblins onto the battlefield, follow that up with a couple of spells. I mean, that Unleash Fury, if you manage to get another 2 or 3 mana instant
So
or sorcery
here's my
spell.
line. My line is playing Wizardry here in James's turn. I would then, in my
Yeah,
turn,
absolutely.
Unleash Fury on the Pireling, and I would Swift Response my own Arsonist to trigger the Pireling's double strike. And that also double
That
trigger.
is a pretty phenomenal play. So as he declares attacks, yeah, that is
And that
pretty
gets both
exceptional.
prize triggers off. So that would be my line before we draw any cards.
What did I say? Just say about not being the most educational draft content on the internet, because that is a pretty high level play. I have to say.
Well, I mean, it's just a line to trigger that Pireling, isn't it? It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
looks pretty good. Either way, to be fair, James isn't doing a whole lot.
That's if he even needs
No,
it, to be
James isn't
honest.
doing a lot, so he has removed a card there. He's drawing 2 cards a turn.
Removal spell. Ah, this is no. That's a better play. This
This
is a
is
better
better.
play. Look
As
at
much
that.
as I like Swift Response, this is just better. So this is the
Yeah. So you had the really high level play, but the draws just made you seem like quite the chump.
it just takes it away, doesn't it? Yep, that's pretty good. And what's that? So that's 10, 15. Next game.
Yeah, that is a very scary end. That is a huge
Great
amount of
draw.
damage to come through there. Not necessarily out of nowhere, but
Well,
yeah.
what do you think of round 1?
Yeah, exciting. We also have a bit of a highlight here from another match. So you can see here we've got Dan Shipley against playing against Gareth. So the real standout player in this match was the Leafkin Avenger. So you can see here in round 1, gets him for 4 damage at first, take him down to 5. You think, oh well, he's probably going to get a couple activations off in the next couple of turns and win that way, but no, he sticks the pump spell on there and hits him for 6, taking him down at -1 damage. And then you can also see here it's what wins in the game in the face of a couple of vigilant blockers that are attacking through in game 2. So Leafkin Avenger has really been standout.
Gotta love
here.
Leafkin Avenger.
So,
Great card.
Yeah, really strong card, really fits well. Doesn't feel too broken at all, but very, very strong, and it's something that you've got to deal with as soon as it comes down.
Yeah, well, I think one of the nice things is it's 4 mana 4/3. It's fine. And it just helps you get through board stalls, which particularly in M21 Draft come up all the time.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us for round 1. Round 2 pairings are on your screens now. We've got Dan Shipley versus David. We've got the Great Ape versus Joe. We've got Marius versus James, and finally we've got Gareth versus Sam. So really look forward to seeing you again for round 2. That should be out in a few days' time, and see you soon.
Absolutely, and congratulations to Joe again for a good win.
Yeah, nice work, Joe. Really strong play, really scary deck.
Good job. See you next time.